Thank you for coming to tonight's concert. This is our last orchestra concert of the year, and it's always a lot of fun, so I think you're in for a really big treat. In front of you right now is our varsity orchestra, and we're going to open up with a piece called Battaglia. And this was a piece written in the Baroque time period by a gentleman by the name of Heinrich Bieber. And it's really interesting because in the Baroque time period, everything was about consonants in music. There wasn't a lot of dissonance used for fear of the church throwing you in jail in the dungeons or even worse, being put to death. So don't use dissonance. However, Bieber, I don't know how he got away with it, but for this piece, he used dissonance. In fact, I almost forgot which movement it was. I'll tell you in a second. In one of the movements, he uses 7 different keys at the same time. That's just a little bit of dissonance. So there's 7 different keys playing at the same time, 7 different songs at the same time. And this is to tell part of the story of a battle. And that is what this piece is all about. So I'm going to grab my score and tell you what each little segment is. Just a second, sorry. Should have grabbed it first and I forgot. All right. So we have our first movement, which is called the sonata. And it's the shouting of commands to the army. And there's even some sound effects which sound like a 10 hut or sir, yes, sir. And so you'll see how that is happened. The second movement is called the Profligate Society of Common Humor. So this is the soldiers, the night before battle, all singing different popular folk songs, all piled up on top of each other in a drunken chorus of regional pride. There are 8 songs in 7 keys. And so that is very rare for this time period. The next movement is the antics and bravery and just everybody trying to pump themselves up for battle. The next movement is a march. And so we have the viola section playing the part of a fife, and then the bass drum for the marching drum is being performed by our bass section, and you'll see them slide some paper in between their strings to imitate a snare drum. And then there's the battle, and then once again, you'll hear some snap pizzicato by the basses, which is supposed to represent cannon fire. And then the very last movement is the lament of the wounded musketeers. The pitiful cries of the dying and wounded are heard in this solemn tribute to the fallen of war. So here is Heinrich Bieber's Battaglia. So our next piece is a piece called Bases Loaded, and it's a song that features a section that, especially in middle school music and early high school music, is not given very much stuff to do. Would you guys agree? Yeah. The poor bass section is back there, and oftentimes composers are like, oh, we'll give them quarter notes, we'll give them a few half notes, but there's really nothing much more than that for some reason that they get to deal with. And so we thought it was time that these folks get a little bit of a feature that shows some of the more alternative ways that we get to play sometimes in the string world. This piece was written by Carrie Lane Grussell, who is an Appleton, Wisconsin native. She spent her entire teaching career after going to UW-Eau Claire in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and has now retired. But interestingly enough, Ms. Rachel Nipfer, who is our middle school director, student taught with Carrie. And Carrie is a well-known composer in the string world. She does a lot of work and just does a really, really nice job. So this piece utilizes 3 different styles of music that is totally contrasting from what you just heard. First, there's a slow rock, and then there's a swing 12-bar blues section, and then followed by a little bit faster rock and roll little song. So we hope you enjoy Bases Loaded. Okay, so before we play our final piece, which has full orchestra, there are a few recognitions and everything that we need to talk about. We've had a very busy year. Besides having, I forget whether it was 8 or 9 snow days or what have you, we've actually only, this is our first concert where we didn't have about only 6 or 7 weeks to prepare music in between. We had Mark Wood here in January, who did a great concert with us, and we had some other little concerts in between other places, and it made for a busy year for us. But so if I mention an event that you participated in, and this goes for band folks too, because there are a couple of these that you probably did, please stand up, or if in the case of the bass section, please raise your hand. So if you were a member of the middle-level band, choir, orchestra, band, choir, or orchestra, there we go. This fall, as you know, you auditioned as 8th grade, but participated as a 9th grader, either stand up or raise your hand. Come on, some of you were doing that. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what you should do. All right, there we go. Good. Okay, if you, sit down. Thank you. If you performed for the Chamber of Commerce Christmas Tour of Homes this year, downtown, stand up. There you go. Good. Sit down. And you can actually hold your applause because there's a bunch of these things. Okay, the Candlelight Stroll, if you participated in Candlelight Stroll. There we go, excellent. Helped tune at either elementary concerts or middle school concerts this year. Or helped set up for those concerts. There we go. If you played a solo at Solo Ensemble, that's District Solo Ensemble. Band members, if you did a solo, you could stand up too. There we go. Awesome. If you did a duet at District Solo Ensemble. If you were a member of the cello choir. If you were a member of the viola choir. The rest of you need to join next year. All right. If you were a member of violin choir. Woo! We had a brave freshman. Good job, Og. Well done. Okay, now bring the rest of your friends next year to violin choir, all right? Here we go. Then if you played in chamber orchestra. All right, excellent. Okay, let's give all those events and everything a round of applause. Well done. Okay, so one thing we do every year is the different ensembles vote for the student in each class that they feel best exemplifies great character and commitment and leadership and just overall outstanding work throughout the school year. The person, they vote on that person. And so the varsity orchestra, being all freshmen, they all voted. And the person they thought this year that exemplifies outstanding freshman, all those things I mentioned, is Megan Ford. Come on up, Megan. All right, the varsity orchestra will now perform our final piece, and I put down my notes, sorry. Okay, so this piece is the South American Overture, and it is titled that because it gives us a musical tour, if you will, of some famous songs from the continent of South America. And so we start in the country of Brazil, and the song is called Vamos Maninha, and it's translated, Let's Go, Little Sister. And then there's one from Chile, which is El Torito. Oh my goodness, I tried these earlier and I did it fine. It's tortilla, but with an O, sorry. The tortilla vendor is how it's translated. Can you tell I took German and not Spanish? I apologize. El Chocolo Veludo, which is from Argentina, and it's the corn cob, and it's actually Argentina's one of that country's most popular tangos. Another one is I from Chile, which is an interjection, which I think we all knew. And then from Uruguay, we have La Cumparista, which is the Little Parade, and that also is Uruguay's one of their most popular tangos. So we hope you enjoy this collection of South American music. Thank you, and we'll have the concert orchestra come up after this group. All right, here we go. Concert orchestra. This is our sophomore through senior orchestra. And this semester, we've been working on music that has not been written by dead white guys. Yay! So in March, we played two movements of a piece called Four Appalachian Moods, and we couldn't get the other two ready because of too much snow. So you are hearing those two this evening, and we're actually exchanging the order that you see in your program. There are two movements. One is the second movement, which was titled Calm, and then the fourth movement, which is Exuberant, but we're starting with four tonight. And the composer describes the two movements as follows. Exuberant is a barn dance, all high energy and fleet notes. It's inspired by the work of my composition teacher, John Beal. And then Calm is a fugue, which is actually written in 7/4 time. Now, a lot of music you hear might be in 3/4 time or 4/4 time, and it's just got a very nice, easy feel to it. 7/4 kind of throws you a little bit, and so that's been challenging for us to work with. And he says this piece follows the composition style of Bela Bartok, in that the voices are built up in layers and then dropped out one by one. He also wrote it in a fugue, which means that one voice is starting, as he said, in layers, but they're offset by either a fourth or a fifth. And if you know music really well, that's the number of notes in between pitches. But it's a whole compositional structure that's very common, especially in the romantic time. But anyway, so here are two movements from Four Appalachian Moods. Okay, before we play our final piece of the evening, we also have some awards and recognitions for this orchestra. First of all, same drill. When I say an event that maybe you participated in or that you did, not maybe, that you did participate in, please stand and please hold your applause until the end. If you participated in state, high school, honors, band, choir, or orchestra, stand up. Okay. If you participated in the Chamber of Commerce Christmas Tour of Homes. Okay. If you were part of the Chamber of Commerce Candlelight Stroll. If you played for the Chamber of Commerce Business Expo this year. That was the viola choir, and then I think I missed that one for freshmen. There was a group of freshmen that performed for that. Good job. Thank you. Okay, if you helped tune at either elementary concerts or middle school concerts or helped set up for those events. If you played a solo or sang a solo at solo ensemble. That's district solo ensemble. If you performed a duet at solo ensemble. If you performed in the cello choir. Yay, cellos. If you performed in the viola choir. If you were in the violin choir. We need a bass choir. We'll do it next year. If you were part of the chamber orchestra. Excellent. And finally, if you were listed or nominated or received honors for Best in Sight at State, exemplary soloist on your instrument or ensemble, please stand. Excellent. Everybody, let's give all of those people a round of applause. Well done. Okay, moving on to our awards. So we have Outstanding Sophomore and Outstanding Junior. Once again, these were voted on by their peers, and so I will award these. Hopefully I'll give the right plaque to the right person. Why would I want to do something like that? Okay, so Outstanding Sophomore. Once again, person that best exemplified commitment and outstanding leadership and just overall orchestral excellence for her sophomore class. This person is Claire Pearson. Come on down. Congratulations. Here you go. Likewise, for our juniors, the person that best exemplified orchestral excellence for our junior class this year is Mr. Scott Rust. Congratulations. Thank you. You are welcome. All right, we have 2 senior awards, which are selected by myself. One is the Director's Award for Orchestra. This is a national award, which is published by the Instrumentalist magazine, but it is schools around the country give this award. Likewise, the top award, which is the National School Orchestra Award. It could have gone either way with these 2 people. I had a hard time deciding which is what, so I wish I could just equate them as equals, and I do. But you know, the Director's Award for Orchestra is about commitment. It's about outstanding leadership. Both are about that, but you got to do one or the other. And so both of these seniors just are wonderful people. They are outstanding leaders, have been undying supporters for all of high school and beyond, highly committed members of tons of orchestra organizations in school, whether leading a choir, leading sectionals. There are people that I could always count on to take leadership when needed. And so the first one is the Director's Award for Orchestra, and this goes to Emily Thorson. Congratulations. Okay, and this award, the National School Orchestra Award, NSOA Orchestra Award, it is. Nice little trophy that she gets. This is Logan Harkness. Congratulations. Absolutely. All right, so seniors, you all need to stand, and I'm going to do my best not to cry again, but I'm not giving the mic over, sorry. Anyway, folks, this is our senior class of 2019. They've been dedicated to this group, have played their hearts out, and they will be dearly missed. Congratulations to all of you. Let's give them a round of applause. What? Do you want to give it now? Seriously? I hate this.
I know you hate it.
This is about them.
Nope. Is this on? It is. You guys can stay standing. I mean, you guys are okay, or don't. I don't. Okay. So I'm Emily. You guys just saw me up here. I've been part of this orchestra program, as many of the seniors have, since 4th grade. Some of you guys transferred here, but you've all been a part of it for God knows how long. But through it all, Mr. Young, where'd he go? Yeah, okay, he's here, so he can hear it. Mr. Young, you've been there for us through literally everything. It's hard to imagine that we're going to be going on to something without you next year. Most of us are going on and playing in ensembles in college, and if we're not, we're still going to lug our instruments around everywhere. But through it all, you've been there. And we've had our highs and lows. We talk too much. We goof around. We break strings. But you're there through everything. You fix our strings. You get us to stop talking. You laugh with us. And through everything, you've supported us. And we can't thank you enough. So to thank you, we got you something. Kirsten, can you hold that? Yeah. Got you a thing. Aww. It's violin, and then it's our faces.
Sweet.
And all of us signed it.
That's great. Thank you.
I don't know where that goes.
I'll grab it. So. This is really great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Break it over your knee or something. No, don't play it. Don't shoot.
Very cool. All right. Stay. Our final piece of the evening is 2 movements of the Symphony No. 1 by Florence Price. You probably don't recognize her name. She is the first African-American woman to have a piece performed by a major symphony orchestra. It was composed in the years 1932 and 1933 while she was recovering from a broken leg. She submitted it, and it won a prestigious composition award, which made it known to the Chicago Symphony, who premiered it for the first time in 1934. This piece is, it's amazing, to say the least. And it's amazingly difficult, as we learned in our trials and tribulations of playing the third and fourth movement of this piece. But it has been really interesting to learn and see how Florence took the African American twist and put it into a symphony. For example, the Juba dance, most symphonies started in even the classical era. The third movement was often written as a dance movement. She did that, but she used what's called a Juba dance, also known as the ham bone. And it's basically an African American dance that utilizes claps, slaps, hitting different parts of your legs or thighs or other parts of your body. Brief demonstration, I'll do my best here. This is... I'm not that embarrassing. Oh my goodness. You'd think they were my kids or something. All right. So anyway, something like this would be like a ham bone, okay? All right. See, that was okay, right? It was okay. All right, my goodness. But there are some awesome YouTube videos out there of even some tap dancers doing some ham bone, and it's really, really cool to see the pros do it. So then we have the last movement, which is simply titled the finale, and in this movement, it's really interesting because you can see how other composers influenced her, even though she was using Native American roots, and I'll talk about how struggle is demonstrated here in a second. But the New World Symphony by Dvorak has a lot of similarities to this piece, especially towards the end. Dvorak uses a lot of arpeggios, basically outlining chords going 3 octaves all over the place. And it's very similar how the energy of this piece builds up, very similar to Dvorak, comes down and then takes off right at the very end. Dvorak did all of that. Just even the beginning parts of the movement, how she uses 6/8, dee-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, is a theme Dvorak used a lot of. So you will notice some similarities to that if you know that piece. So I mentioned struggle. We struggled. We are not lying. There's about 20 measures or so, and I got to hand it off to these kids. I have a hard time playing it, and I've played it in like 50 of their lessons, and I still, especially on cello bass, not my primary instruments, most of them are playing it way better than I was. So they have really stepped up and taken this over, which has been awesome. But Florence Price lived through Jim Crow. She lived through segregation. In order to follow her musical path, she had to move north. She grew up in Alabama. She was not allowed to be recognized as a composer there. People would not allow it, refused to listen to her music, refused to perform it, refused anything. So she had to move north to even have a prayer of doing anything. And so my interpretation is that those 20 or so measures that have been causing us to sweat is just to represent a tidbit of what she had to go through. So here we go. We hope you enjoy our final piece of the evening. This is Juba Dance and Finale from Symphony No. 1.